Tonight, the Ohio State Buckeyes, they're going to be facing off against the Oregon Ducks in college football's first championship. I said Ducks. The players on both, they're clearly, obviously, ready to make some history tonight here. And for that matter, the question then becomes, with all the attention on this, how much are they really student athletes? We've had this debate before, but one of the principal players tonight, he made some headlines a couple of years ago on the subject. Ohio State's Cardale Jones. Now, he was a third-string quarterback at the beginning of the year until the two guys ahead of him on the depth chart both got hurt.
Have Dominic give a little background on Cardale. I mean, have him give a little some stats and how many games he started, et cetera. Go ahead, Dominic. Tell us a little about Cardale. I will
not put you through that, Dominic, but he said this a couple of years ago, Dom. I'll let you weigh in first on this before he gets in your head. Cardale said, why should we have to go to class if we came here to play some football? Now, a lot of people said, maybe he shouldn't have said it. It wasn't Tony.
He told the truth.
But did he tell the truth?
He told the truth. And I say this based, Richard, that I was a dorm director up at Syracuse University. These kids that come in.
You were a dorm director?
Dorm director, yes.
How scary is that?
Are you going to take issue with that, Mr. Doherty?
Check your facts on that.
You want me to check my facts on that?
Please go before you take up.
Okay.
Stay with me.
Okay, I'm with you, Brother Richard. I'm with you. These kids, yes, they should get their education. But when you are performing before 30,000 people every time you take the field, and in most of these colleges, it's 100,000. Let's get real about this. These guys are not there to go to school. Let's call it for what it is. They're professional athletes.
You know I support paying college football players.
Without the money.
We've talked about this plenty of times. But the whole why should we have to go to class? That's please.
Many of them don't go to class.
Yeah, but they're supposed to go to class.
Right, they're supposed to.
They are all supposed to go to class and study and learn. Please.
Right. Okay.
And if
what do you think about the game tonight?
No. But you've been around college athletes, and you've been in the faculty.
She's been around many, right? Jeannie,
right?
You've been around many college athletes, right?
the faculty
Moving
lounge.
on. No. Do people know that there is almost a second standard for some of these kids? That, like, they push them through basket weaving classes or whatever just to get them through and keep them eligible.
Not at every school.
Well, we know that there's been plenty of reported incidents of that and probably a lot that aren't reported, absolutely, but it shouldn't be that way. And I will tell you, faculty fight about that all the time, fight with the administration about that all the time because there is a lot of tension there. You're teaching at a college. Your goal is to teach these kids, not to push them through a class for nothing. And so, of course it happens, but it's deplorable and it shouldn't happen.
I want to know, do we know of a university that actually has basket weaving? Because we've used that forever as our thing, right? Wouldn't it be cool if, like, the University of Arizona had basket weaving?
There are some that are just as bad. But anyway,
but that would be a great class to have. I mean, look.
And that's a skill.
I mean, look, the sad part about this is that, the comment is so stupid. So few of these athletes will move on to the professional level. That, as Jeannie says, there is always the professors who are saying, and the presidents who need to step in and say, look, academically, they need to step in and do something about it.
Let's get real. You and I both know,
Thank
Tom,
you, Brother Richard.
There's going to be about 5 major conferences when this is all shaken up with realignment and everything else. Your brother, pro baseball player, right? He could have gone, maybe did go straight through the minor leagues, and it didn't even go through the pretense if you don't want to for college. You have tennis players. You have girls that are pros when they're 14 or 15 years old. The NBA, if you want to just go straight overseas and not go to college, you can. You only have to spend 1 year, and I guarantee you they're not all cracking the books really hard for that 1 year before they declare if they want to. Right. Football's different. Kids aren't developed at 18 to be able to play pro. You got to go to college and whatever else. Would it be more honest and upright if we said, listen, you want to be a college athlete, that's great. But if a student athlete, that's great. But if you just want to be a college player for things, we're going to create a different system.
No, because you remember, you're taking a seat in a classroom from another kid who could be going to the University of Ohio State.
Don't go through that. Let the kids still have a seat. Take the guy out.
No. I'm saying, well, then you don't get to play football. You're getting a free scholarship to go to college. That's your payment. This idea we need to pay these kids. Wait a second. You are getting a $60,000 a year education paid for by the taxpayers of the state.
What's the coach getting? What's the coach?
That's irrelevant.
Oh, the coach making $10 million a year is irrelevant? That's irrelevant. These kids come out of the projects and they can barely eat.
And they're getting a free college education.
Wow. They're getting a scholarship.
Tom, I agree with you.
I agree
with
really? What do you want to give them? What are you supposed to give them?
Tom, many of these kids come from nothing.
Okay, so now.
And so you give them a meal card.
So wait a second.
You give them a meal card.
They're getting a dorm room. They're getting a free market. And they're getting a college education because most of them, the vast majority, are not playing pro sports.
That's true.
Now they can go get a job that normally they would not be getting in life.
And that's the sin of if you pass them through without taking real classes and educating them, that they can't go
They'll
out
be on
and
the
have a
street
life.
somewhere. That's the shame of it all.
But
We should be supporting them in class.
If they're taking seats away from
I'm just
students
saying,
who actually
let's get
want to
real.
focus on it, why isn't there another system for students, for football players who don't want to go through the college ranks, who don't necessarily want to go through a basketball class? Why not create a minor league for football players so that they can go and still have a route to the NFL that doesn't involve, basically cheating their way through college, or otherwise.
I think it's a misnomer to say they're all cheating.
Because you're not going to have the competitive. You're not going to have enough competition. So that kid grows, that he's growing in an
You don't think they would foster the competition? I mean, there are baseball players who can go directly to the minor leagues, and they don't have to go to college.
A much different sport, and
you
have a much bigger.
I'm going to watch tonight. If you've ever gone,
Me too,
and we don't
now,
have
Richard.
it at your
This is so exciting.
Don't even. We don't have it around here. But if you ever have a chance to go to an SEC game or go to a Big Ten game or whatever, it's phenomenal. It really is. But it's got to be a better way than the way we're doing it right now, right? I mean, the contracts that you're going to get if you're an SEC school with the ESPNs of the world. You know the shoe contract that the school is getting. You know the ticket revenue and all the ancillary revenues that they're generating at the school. I'm not saying you got to pay the kids a palatial sum, but either we be upfront that these kids aren't going to graduate, or we try and do something a little bit different than just pretend and wish it the way it is. I don't know.
Who's pretending? I mean, look, I have not seen, quite frankly, unless people are taking a blind eye, on the major football level, I have not seen many cases where major football stars in the NCAAs have been ineligible to play the following semester. It has been far and few between, which says to me that. See, Andrew, I disagree with you. It says to me that Brady Hoke at Michigan is making sure that his kids are going to class and they are passing classes. I have not seen.
It could be also that when we look a little carefully. I know we're out of time, but it could be the basic studies platform. It could be whatever
and the
else.
enforcement from the NAAC, whatever you call it.
It's not the NAACP. Does not oversee the NCAA.
Always. All right. Coming up next, in case you missed it, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, you were doing so fine, Boy. They had some fun last night at Golden Globes. We'll show you some highlights and get into it after this.